Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about some orientation and important points about O-level Cambridge. So we are going to cover the board exam papers and the code for your examination, the course schedule, classified, and past papers. So let's start talking about the exam papers and codes. So for Cambridge, historically we've been having this code 0620, and then recently we have this code 0971. Guys, they are identical. The exam is exactly the same. The only difference is how they give you the grade. So the 0620, they're gonna give you a letter grade. The highest is A star, and then A and then B. I'm gonna show you another slide about that. And then the numerical is 0971, and the highest is 9, and then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and so on until 1. And so I'm going to talk about these two papers, but again, do not worry at all. They are identical. It's exactly the same exam. So there's really no difference. I actually I feel like 0971 is slightly better. So I recommend it. And I'm going to tell you why. And basically, you will have 3 examinations, paper 2, paper 4, and paper 6. And again, I'm going to talk about each of these. So this is about the grades. So this is the historical grade. The highest is A star, followed by A, then B, C, D, and so on until the lowest is G. U is ungraded. It means you just got a 0 or something. We are really looking at the A star A as a goal. My goal is really high. I'm very ambitious with my students. And so, yeah, I mean, some students will just be ambitious for a B and have this goal. But really, my goal is the best. In regards to the 9 to 1 grades, and again, this is the code 0971. So when you go and register, and by the way, the registration opens between November and January for those students who are taking their exam in June, and they choose paper 2, paper 4, paper 6. The first number is the paper. 2, 4, 6 are the 3 papers you're taking. The second number, you have no choice for them. You're not choosing them. This is just your zone. And so some people take variant 1, and some people take variant 2, some people take variant 3, and this is really based on your zone and where you live and where your school is at. So you don't get to choose, you don't get to choose which of these, but it's gotta start with 2, 4, and 6. If you choose 1, 3, and 6, then you're basically choosing something called core chemistry and not extended, and that's not what you need for college applications. And if you choose 2, 4, and 5, paper 5 is a practical exam where you actually go to a real lab. And so paper 6 is an alternative to practice. It's a paper, you write on it, and that's why we're choosing paper 6. All right. And most of your schools are actually like they will just make you choose paper 6. Anyhow, the grade that you're going to get if you choose the numerical, the highest is 9. And again, that's my goal with my students. And then the lowest is 1, and U is ungraded. And so basically, a lot of students will ask, like, is A star exactly 9? Not exactly. The grade boundary for the A star is just slightly higher than the 9. And then the A is kind of between 8 and 7. And B is between 6 and 5. And C is between 5 and 4. It's I mean, the reason I recommend the numerical is since I'm ambitious and I'm looking for the highest for students, a lot of colleges will consider the 8 to be like an A star. So basically, if you get a 9 or an 8, it's considered, both of them are considered an A star. And so it gives you better chances at college applications and universities. So that's why I prefer the grading, unless the university you're seeking and you want to apply for will consider the 9 with 1 grade and the 8 is different. Then in this case, the alphabetical grades are better. So it really depends on where you're going. If you don't know yet where you're going, just choose the numerical. If you know where you're going, then ask the college, ask the admissions office, and get some guidance. So in regards to the papers, again, you're going to be taking paper 2, paper 4, and paper 6. Now, I put paper 4 here first because that's going to be your first exam. It's about end of April. Sometimes it's April 30th, sometimes it's April 29th. It's just the really last week of April. That's when your paper 4 is. And that's why I really consider April a very serious month, because at the end of April you're going to be taking paper 4, the first of your exam series, and then you're going to get really busy. And so I really make sure that all my students are completely, absolutely prepared by mid-March. Like mid-March, you're going to be ready to take your exam and get a grade 9 or an A star. I mean, if you follow my plan. So that, you have the whole month of April of just practice, practice, practice. And then in a couple of weeks, about mid-May is going to be your paper 6. And then early June is going to be your paper 2. So there's about 2 weeks gap between paper 4 and 6, and 3 weeks gap between paper 6 and paper 2. Now, let me tell you, and this is really important, this 2-week gap between paper 2 and 6 is extremely, extremely short. Because you don't only have chemistry, you have other subjects going on. So if you think I have a whole 2 weeks to study, no, you don't really have a whole 2 weeks to study. Because those 2 weeks are boom, boom, boom. You're going to school to take the other exams almost every single, 5 days a week. And so you only really have the weekend to study. So there's not much time during that, in those 2 weeks are not really significant. And so because of that, I make students practice paper 6 starting January. Okay, so that by the time they take their paper 4, in those 2 weeks, they're just reviewing and looking at, their mistakes, and, it's and they're prepared. So just make sure you follow my plan, because if you do, you're gonna thank yourself, right? If you don't follow my plan, you will regret it. The 3 weeks between paper 6 and 2 are actually good. Usually the exam schedule is a bit lighter, and you don't have exams every single day, and you kind of have a lot of time at home. And so the 3 weeks are kind of better, much better. But again, follow my plan, because if you follow my plan, you will be prepared for exams by mid-March. Like really, by end of March, you are confident. So what is the difference between paper 4, 6, and 2? So paper 4 is basically a theoretical paper. It is a structured questions. So you get 5 to 6 questions, and it's basically 80 marks, and it's 1 hour and 50 minutes, and they're really short. So most questions are just 1 to 2 marks. That's it. You have a couple of lines to express your answer. And sometimes the answer is just one word. And so it's usually 1 to 2 marks. Now, can you have 3-mark questions? Yes, a little bit. Some questions are 3 to 4 marks. Sometimes you'll just have one question that's a 5-mark question. But usually they are short. It is an easy paper, but you will definitely have a good 8 marks. Among the 80, 8 to 10 marks are a little bit more challenging. It's for students who have really worked hard all year. But again, if you follow my plan, you will be able to get a really good mark out of 80. Now, Cambridge does something about the marks. This 80 is called raw marks. They are not the actual marks that is calculated and added at the end. This 80 is multiplied by 1.25, and so the total of paper 4 becomes at the end out of 50. Okay. Paper 4 is the most important paper because it weighs 50%. That is heavy, right? 50% of your grade depends on paper 4. And so really by end of April, you have to be a master in chemistry, okay? Because this is a 50%. All right, next is paper 6. And this is a paper that asks you all about experiments, okay? It is not an exam that you do in a lab. You do not go to a lab and do an experiment. Okay, you're going to be doing this real experiments in the AS level, but here in the IGCSE or the O level, you're not going to go to a lab. Now, it's much more preferred if you go to a lab and see the apparatus and see the experiments, but if you don't, you can still survive. When I was in IGCSE students, I personally took the Cambridge IGCSE when I was a student, and I saw very few experiments, very few apparatus before taking my exam, and I was fine. I got an A star. I was okay. Later, then I took the AS Cambridge, and I actually had to do experiments. I had to do titration and stuff, and tests for cations and anions, all in the lab by myself, and answer on a paper, basically. So this exam is called alternative to practice because it's not a practical exam. It's an alternative because it's on paper. It's 1 hour, and I'm telling you, this 1 hour is plenty. They give you enough time, and the reason they give you enough time is that there could be a graph, and there could be, you know, graphs that you read, and maybe drawings. It's 40 marks, and there's no change in factors, so it stays as 40 marks. And then paper 2, the last one, is the multiple choice. There are 40 did I say 45 marks? No, there's only 40 marks. Sorry about that. This is a mistake. It's 40 marks, but it's 45 minutes. So they give you 45 minutes. It's 40 questions and 40 marks. They multiply by 1.5, and it becomes out of 60. And what else? Okay, so there's 40 marks, and they multiply by 1.5. And so the paper 2 weighs 30%. Now, when you add 60, 40, and 100, you get 200 marks. The total is going to be 200 marks. Now, notice that 80 marks must be solved in 60, 70, 75 minutes, okay? 80 marks must be solved in 75 minutes. What does this tell you? It tells you that each mark must be solved in less than 1 minute. 40 marks must be solved in 60 minutes, which means each mark... Now, my students finish it in 40 minutes. 40 marks in 40 minutes, so they take like 1 mark per minute, okay? Paper 4, 40 marks in 45 minutes, so you just have just a little over 1 minute for each mark. So each question cannot take more than 1 minute. Now, is it all 1 minute? Like all 40 questions deserve 1 minute and will take 1 minute? No. Some questions will take 30 seconds or even 15 seconds. I've seen questions that literally take 10 seconds. Okay, just reading the question, it's pretty short. And so some questions are really short, and some questions require a whole minute, and some questions will need 3 minutes. Very few. Okay, very few questions will need 3 whole minutes. So you should keep that in mind, that approximately you cannot spend more than 1 minute per mark, because some questions will take more than 1 minute. And so the easy questions should take significantly less than 1 minute. All right? So grade boundaries. What does it take to get a 9? This is out of 200, so this is multiplying by the factor, after multiplying by the factor. And by the way, these are the codes you're going to be choosing from. Either, so again, you're choosing 0971 or 0620 if your school forces you to do the 0620. And then there's like another code an option, okay? So you're going to either choose CX, CY, or CZ. I have not seen students take CZ, but CX or CY, okay? So these are the components, paper 2, paper 4, and paper 6. And the second number is for the variant. To get a 9, out of 200, now it differs from year to year, it differs. June to November, it differs. Now, if the grade boundary is really, really, really high, like 171, that's crazy. 171 out of 200, that was really crazy that year. But I'll tell you what, you know what this means? It means that the exam was really, really, really easy. So a lot of students could actually get way more than 171. In that year, I had a lot of students got more than, many of my students got more than 190. So 190 plus. To that extent, the exam was easy. And that's why you needed 171 to get a 9. But if the exam was a little hard, then the curve drops. So for example, 153 was required in June 2022. 153 was required to get a 9. Why? Because the exam was difficult. And I'll tell you what, in that year, I had several students get more than 190, and I had one student got 200 out of 200. You see, despite how difficult the exam was, but she still got 200 out of 200. And so my ambitions, again, are really, really, really high. My students are capable of getting the 9 easily because our goal is 190 plus or even 180 and more out of 200. And so if you get 170, you still should get a 9 easily. All right. So those are the grade boundaries. They change year by year. It depends on the difficulty of the exam. It depends on the variant. I'll tell you what, guys, do not worry about the grade boundaries at all. At all. I do not talk about grade boundaries at all in my class. I have my own grade boundaries. I'm going to talk about that. I do not encourage June versus November versus certain variants. Nope. Some students tell me, oh, I want to only practice variant 2 because I'm variant 2. No, you practice all variants, okay? Because the difficulty change and the grade boundaries also change. If the exam is very, very easy, the boundary goes up. Your curve, it's called a curve, okay? It goes up. If the exam is difficult, then the boundary goes down and it becomes, it requires a less grade, a less score to get the 9. So really my recommendation is not even to think about grade boundaries. Follow my plan exactly and you will easily get the 9. Okay, do not spend too much time on this. All right. So my recommendation when you're practicing is to be well above this mark. So paper 4 is out of 80. I always tell my students to make sure that they get 70 or 72 as a minimum. They keep practicing, and make sure that they're scoring like 70 or 72. Why? Because this way they are well above the 68. They guarantee the grade 9. They guarantee the A star. And so you guys have 12 marks to lose. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Why did you lose 12 marks? That's a lot, okay? So do not worry. If you practice, you're going to do great. And really, my recommendation is to have the bare minimum of 68 out of 80 while practicing paper 4. While practicing paper 6, you can lose six marks, okay? And again, that's plenty. A lot of paper 6, in my opinion, or in my experience, paper 6 with my students is the easiest to score a full mark. Most my students get 40 out of 40. Where students lose marks is usually paper 4 and a couple of marks in paper 2. Like usually my students get 75 out of 80 in paper 4. They get 40 out of 40 in paper 6. That's like usually if they follow my plan. They get 38 out of 40 in paper 2. All right, so they lose about 5 marks in paper 4, nothing in paper 6, and about 2 marks in paper 2. If you follow my plan, okay? But that's the max you can lose. You can lose up to 6 marks in paper 6 and still guarantee grade 9. You can lose up to 5 marks in paper 2 and still guarantee a grade 9. I'm talking 23 marks in total to be lost. That's a lot of marks, right? If you think about it. And so really, in my opinion, scoring the 9, getting the grade 9 is actually really easy. If you follow my plan, it's going to be guaranteed. It's going to be a piece of cake. I have a lot of screenshots from students who came from the exam and said the exam was a piece of cake. All right. Okay. So we're done with board exam papers and codes. Now let's talk about the course schedule. So you should be getting something that looks like this, a PDF document on the WhatsApp. I should send it to you, or your assistant should send it to you, that looks like this. It has each date, what exactly I'm going to be teaching. So these are the lessons. And you will also be getting in that same document, when you scroll down, you're going to find the table of content. So you will see exactly what's 2.1, what's 2.2, what's 2.3, and so on. And you're going to have the dates here. You're going to have what quizzes are there. Now, every single lesson, you will have a short quiz. We call it pop quiz. And every single lesson, you also have a lot of homework, okay? And your homework is divided into 2 things, worksheets and classified. And so please keep a note on about your deadlines, know when your quizzes are. After each chapter, I should definitely have a quiz, and we should definitely have a cumulative quiz. So I will always have a quiz that asks you about everything you finished. So for example, after chapter 5, you will have a cumulative quiz that covers everything, mostly heavily weight like on chapters 3, 4, and 5. After chapter 7, for example, you're going to have a big quiz that covers everything from chapter 1 to 7. All right. So keep a note on the quizzes you have, the cumulative quizzes you have. Please also pay attention to definitions quiz. This is an easy 2-mark question, or sometimes even more than one definition in your paper 4 exam. So sometimes paper 4 exam will have 2 definitions or even 3 definitions. Why in the world would you lose marks on that? Those are easy 4 to 6 marks. And so you cannot afford to lose marks on definitions. Too easy to, like, no, duh. Yeah. So I have 4 quizzes on definitions. Quiz number 1, quiz number 2, quiz number 3, each of them covering third of the quizzes, third of the definitions, and then a final definitions quiz that covers all, I think there's like 70 some definitions. Okay, so keep a note, make sure you have this document. Once you receive it from your assistant, make sure you print a hard copy or have a digital copy on your device, so that you're always on top of due dates. All right, you cannot be late on due dates, because again, if you follow my plan, by mid-March you're going to be an expert in chemistry. There's also, please also note the live mocks. So there will be several mocks, but the live mocks are mock exams that you're going to be doing on Zoom. Okay, and one of my team members is going to be watching you. All right, so keep a note on about the live mock exams, because they have a very specific date and time. Okay, and they are usually big, so they're usually like 50 to 100 marks, and they cover several chapters. So for example, this first mock is going to cover chapters 1 to 7, half the syllabus. We have 12, actually more than half the syllabus. We have 12 chapters. So make sure you take a note on when the live mocks are. You will also you should be able to navigate the website and find your assignments. There's going to be a lot of assignments. Again, like I mentioned before, we start solving full paper 6 in January. That's how early we start paper 6, and that's why my students get 40 out of 40 in paper 6. It's the easiest. They find it to be the easiest paper. Usually students, like, before joining my course, they say, oh, paper 6, that's the worst. But then by January or by March, they say it's the easiest. Why? Because they've been having a lot of opportunity to practice it. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 papers to practice here. And another 1, 2, 3 here. Like, each lesson, I will have you practice some paper 6. So make sure that you practice minimum what you have. Now, if you can do more, great. How can you do more? There are some older paper 6 files, okay, that you can find on the website. And here's the thing, I've recorded them all paper 6 are recorded and available on the website. I'm going to show you how to go and navigate and find those paper 6 videos. So definitely take advantage of this. Starting late January, you're going to be solving 3 to 4 papers every single session. So we're talking like 6 papers a week from late January until March. And then in April, we're going to be focusing on paper 4. So you have all month of February, all month of March, 2 months, practicing paper 6. That's plenty of time. And then in April, you're going to be, focusing more on paper 4. And so that's my trick on how my students get 40 out of 40 in paper 6. Always, like most of my students, the ones who have guarantee, if you do what I tell you, if you watch my videos and you diligently solve paper 6, you're going to be getting a 40 out of 40 or very close to 40 out of 40. Okay, so keep a note on making sure that you start solving those paper 6 exams starting January, and I have selected the ones that are easier. So I made it easier to harder. Okay, so I have a certain plan here. It's this is not random. Like the way I chose this exam specifically is not random. I have a reason why I chose this year specifically. Okay, so keep a note on that. Late January, you're gonna start solving paper 6. Okay, so we talked about course schedule. Definitely make sure that you have this document. It's very important to have this document. It's very important to have either a hard copy or a digital copy on your device. I prefer a hard copy because this is just 3 pages. So it's not much to print, right? It's not a lot of paper wasted. So, and it needs to be, it needs to be very handy with you. So I really suggest you have this and you put it on your desk, right? Because you want to be on top of, being able to know, okay, I have a quiz coming up. I have an assignment paper 6 coming up. I have a live mock coming up. Really, really important to have this printed out and on your desk. I'll tell you what, guys, have 2 copies. Okay. Now, I always ask my students to print the periodic table too. So the periodic table and the schedule. A couple of things you need to have on your desk. All right. So we're done now with course schedule. Now let's talk about classified. So what is classified? Classified is when what I do is I go and collect all the past papers questions, the questions from past papers that are relevant to the lesson I'm teaching. Okay, so for example, this is 1.2, the kinetic theory. I collected all questions that are relevant to kinetic theory and I put it in one document. And it's a short document, it's only 8 pages. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. Every single lesson you have to solve the classified, which is basically past papers that I have compiled for you that are focused only on the lesson I taught you. So it's not everything all over the place. Okay, so definitely do this homework, and it's divided into several documents so that it's manageable. So I have each 3 years compiled into one document. So for example, this particular document is from 2019 until 2022. And then there's another document from 2023 until 2025, and so on. So each 3 years are together so that the documents are not huge. As you can see, there's only 8 pages here. Now, some documents are a bit larger, okay? So do not be discouraged because some documents are like 30 some pages, okay? So anyhow, what I really want to emphasize is that I have recorded all the classified questions from 2002 until the most recent exam. That's plenty. Now, I usually do not have students watch all of this because it's huge, but at least the recent ones, or at least the ones that you found difficult. All right. Not only that I solved everything and it's all available on the website, but I've also placed a QR code next to each question. And so you can scan it and watch it. Now, both of those are super easy questions, but if you found them difficult, for example, then you can scan the QR code and go watch the video, right? The video of me solving the question. So you guys have no excuse. The other thing is all those videos are on the website. So here's how to navigate for them. You, of course, need to first go to your courses, pick your IGCSE Cambridge, your course, and then go on the left and click on Files. And then after that, click on this button that says classified videos. Okay, you guys see this button? That's going to sort out the videos that are classified videos, and you're going to have them all listed for you. As you can see, there's 595 results. Again, the reason there's a lot of files is I have solved everything from 2002 until the end. And so it is okay if you do not go back to really older classified, but the recent ones, like last 15 to 20 years, really, really important to watch. Okay, and so once you click here, you can watch, you can click on this button and watch. Okay, so you can see like there's a couple of videos on 1.1, 5 videos on 1.2, and more. Looks like there's a lot. Okay, so I've also separated multiple choice from written questions, and the reason is students say that they do not want to print the multiple choice questions, and I totally understand. It is ridiculous to print all this paper, right? Because you know how many pages I have of classify. It has to be like 5,000 pages or something. So I've separated multiple choice from written in case you do not want to print the multiple choice and you just want to solve it digitally. If you solve my classified, if you solve my homework, and if you diligently do the work and watch the videos, each lesson by mid-March, you would have solved all past papers. The only thing is you would have solved it as a classified, like topic by topic, like kinetic energy alone, equilibrium alone, calculations, like each topic on its own, after the session. But by mid March, you will be done. And that's why I said, if you follow my plan, by mid March, you're going to be an expert in chemistry. And so that's it with classified. Now let's talk about past papers. Super, super important. As I said, we're going to be solving paper 6 from January, later January. And then we're going to, once we're done with all the classified and all the syllabus, and once we're done, which is about mid March, we're going to start solving past papers, like full past papers. You're not going to be solving classified anymore. You're going to grab the full paper and solve it, which is a mix of all topics, right? Until mid-March, you were just solving one topic by topic. But then starting mid-March, you're going to be solving the whole paper, which is a mix of all topics. So how do you find... Now, here's the other thing. I have recorded past papers too. So again, you go to files, and then you're going to find tabs or like ways to filter out the videos, and then you're gonna click on paper 4, and then you can just watch all the paper 4 videos by clicking on this button. Okay, so this is paper 4, and then this is paper 6. You just click here to filter it out. Paper 6, I mean, there's a lot, because for paper 6 I've solved a lot of papers. All right, I think all of them. And then paper 2 is, you can also filter it out by clicking here. You're gonna get all the paper 2. So again, classified, I've solved them all. Past papers, I've solved plenty, a lot of papers. And so there's, again, no excuse to become an expert in IGCSE chemistry. The other thing is, when you solve past papers, I do not want you to print the past papers from the internet. They are available for free. They're on the internet. Some bookshops will print it for you. Do not do that. I want you to print my book. Why? Because my book has QR code on each question. And so there's a QR code here. For paper 4, I've put a QR code at the bottom of each page. And so you can, if you feel like you're solving this and you're like, oh my God, this is an equilibrium question and it's hard and I don't understand. What do you mean by like the position of like, I don't understand. Click, scan the QR code and go watch my, it's going to take you exactly to the minute the place where I solve this. Okay, so definitely print my book, so that you can scan the QR code when you feel like the question deserves to be watched. And there's a QR code next to each question for all past papers. Like, how can you not print my book and go print the empty ones from the internet? Please take advantage and print this one, okay? And it's going to help you a lot. Now, obviously, those codes only work for students who have enrolled in the full course. And so if you're not in the course and you're trying to scan this, it's not going to work. And I did this for all papers. So here's paper 4. Here's paper 6. There's also a code next to each question for all paper 6 exams, and also for paper 2. So the 40 questions you have in paper 2, each of them has a code, and some questions just do not deserve to be, like, it's really easy, you're gonna solve it, and some questions are just a little hard. So if you find it hard, please scan the QR code. All right, that's it, guys. We have covered the exam board papers, the codes for your chemistry exam, IGCSE. We have talked about the schedule. Make sure you print it, maybe a couple of copies. We talked about classified and how important it is to solve one by one. Do not fall behind. We also talked about past papers. Please print my book. Do not print stuff from the internet, right? Because my book has QR codes. Please take advantage of this. Guys, I really want you to do your very, very best. I've got all the resources for you. There's no excuse. There are QR codes next to each question. It's really easy to learn with all the features that I've provided you. So again, no excuse. Please do your best, and best wishes.